Good. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about this picture right here in today's live stream, not today's video. Sorry, I'm a little tired. I just got up. Wanted to go live real quick and talk about this. I'm going to make a video about this later today as well. But I wanted to go live first for a little bit, see if we could get some people in here to relax and chill out with us and discuss things, obviously, because it could be some potentially exciting news, some exciting times going on here in the Walking Dead world, man. So, if you guys don't know, the guy on the left is Scott Gimple. He's a very powerful figure in, AMC and with the Walking Dead and everything like that. He was the showrunner for the Walking Dead from seasons 4 to 8, and then he became, I believe, the chief content officer, I believe is what it's called, for The Walking Dead back in, I think that was 2018. He kind of just became kind of the overseer to everything with The Walking Dead. So practically everything that happens, all the shows, all the storylines, everything practically goes through him, right? Like Scott Gimple is the very, very important guy in the Walking Dead world, right? This picture is actually really recent, and obviously that's Rick Grimes, Andrew Lincoln, the one and only, and Scott Gimple together. So with them being together and all this stuff that's happening, all these rumors that have come out, everything that's happening, it's pretty safe to say that they're probably talking about another show, right? They're talking about the continuation of the story. And I mean, it's almost been 2 years since The Ones Who Live came out. So, I mean, it would make sense for them to be discussing the future and the continuation of Rick's story, right? And there's been all these rumors and all these leaks and everything going on. If you guys, so I can summarize that for you guys really quickly. If you guys remember earlier this year, back in January, I made a video talking about a tweet from this page called Andrew Lincoln News, which, by the way, they have a very accurate track record of dropping like leaks and spoilers and rumors about Andrew Lincoln's career. So, pretty much anything that has to do with Andrew Lincoln's career, projects he's doing, what's happening with him, anything they come out and say has always been proven true. They've never been wrong once. Like, they've been very accurate with everything regarding Andrew Lincoln's career. So they have some sort of inside information to Andrew Lincoln's career. I don't know if it's actually just him running the page secretly or whatever it is, but there's definitely some sort of insight there with Andrew Lincoln, right? With that Twitter page. So they made a post earlier this year in January saying that Rick Grimes could appear in another spinoff. And it's kind of, it's kind of vague and kind of cryptic in a way because we don't really know what that means. Does that mean he's going to be in Dead City? Does that mean he's going to be in Daryl Dixon? Is it going to be The Ones Who Live season 2? Is it going to be a brand new, right? What does that mean? We don't know, but that was back in January. And then there was another post recently from Andrew Lincoln News saying, will Rick Grimes appear in The Ones Who Live season 2? So obviously that's a little bit more, definitive with what they're talking about. They actually mention The Ones Who Live season 2. Does that 100% confirm we're getting a Ones Who Live season 2? I mean, I don't know. I can't say for sure, but it's definitely kind of interesting that that page that's been like very accurate through the years with anything to do with Andrew Lincoln, right? That they're saying The Ones Who Live season 2. It makes me think maybe they're going in that direction. Maybe they're going to do The Ones Who Live season 2 and just build off the name since the show was such a success. And, everyone kind of knows what that is now, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe it's not going to be that, but it would be interesting. So, anyway, they just made that tweet not that long ago talking about, The Ones Who Live season 2. And then next thing you know, now there's this picture. And before this picture, if you guys remember, Andrew Lincoln did an interview where they asked him about, the continuation of Rick's story and his, affiliation in The Walking Dead and things like that. And he said that there are conversations going on right now. So, I mean, that's definitely very exciting, guys. I mean, we're definitely heading in that direction. And I try to tell people, a year and a half ago when The Ones Who Live ended, that it's not the end of Rick. I've been saying that all along. If you guys have been following my channel and following my videos, I've practically promised you guys through the last year and a half that we're going to have a new story with Rick. We're going to have a continuation of his story. It's not going to be the end. The Ones Who Live was not the end. It's like I told you guys, a year and a half ago, and like I promised, man, The Ones Who Live was what I always titled a reintroduction for the character in the universe to set up a landscape where anything is possible, right? And that's definitely what was happening. And I know I don't, like I told you guys, I don't have any inside information, I've been accused of that a lot because I've been very accurate with the stuff I've come out and said as well. But yeah, I mean, in the end, guys, Rick's story is not over. Andrew Lincoln's young, he's only 52, but he looks great for his age. He's a young 52, 52 is, not that old these days. There's a lot of things, a lot of, measures that people take to, maintain good health and stay in good shape and stuff like that. And I mean, Andrew Lincoln's definitely living up to that for sure. I mean, he's 52, but he kind of looks the same as he's looked for like the last 5 to 6, 7 years, He doesn't look that different, and he's obviously still pretty thin and good shape. He obviously works out and takes care of himself. Probably on that TRT and some peptides and stuff, but he's locked in, guys. So I mean, it's very possible that we will see Rick Grimes return very soon. I'm really thinking that next year sometime we'll have a full announcement. 2026 we'll have an actual confirmed announcement from AMC that Rick Grimes is returning. We just don't know what that's going to look like, right? But I can promise you, I can guarantee you guys, Rick Grimes will return. And no, it's not just going to be a cameo reunion with Daryl. I hate that theory that going around. Oh, Rick and Daryl are just going to reunite and that's going to be the end. No, it's not. That's not going to be the end. They wouldn't bring Rick back again to just have him reunite with Daryl. If that was the case, you know, we probably would have never even got The Ones Who Live, or at least we just waited. Would have waited till Daryl Dixon was over, and then had Rick and Daryl reunite at the end of The Ones Who Live or something like that. It wasn't that's never been the plan for them. They never wanted to just have Rick come back and say, "Hey, what's up, Daryl? I miss you. I love you." That's that, right? That's never been the plan. So I hope you guys understand that. There are definitely going to be some long term plans. By long term, I mean obviously, you have to be logical here, right? Like, am I saying that Rick Grimes is going to come back, Andrew Lincoln's going to come back, and we're going to get practically a brand new Walking Dead series, kind of like the original flagship show, and it's going to be 11 years, 12 years of the Walking Dead? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's going to happen. But I think that we're probably going to get at least like 3 to 5 seasons of Rick Grimes once again. And I do believe, just based on everything that's happening in the fan base and everything that people are talking about right now, that they're going to head in a direction of longer seasons again. I don't really think they're going to bring Rick back for 6 episodes. The reason why The Ones Who Live, I think, was really, only 6 episodes. Obviously, it could have been way longer. But the reason it was only 6 episodes, I think, was because it practically was the equivalent of the 3 movies that they were supposed to do. If you guys remember, the Rick Grimes movies were going to be 3. It was supposed to be a movie trilogy, right? And if you think about it, practically, 6 episodes, 1 hour long each. That's 6 hours of content. 3 movies, 2 hours long, right? It kind of all adds up, right? It all equals out to the same. So I really think that they practically were just following the script, or following, the landscape for the movies, but just in like a TV show platform, right? A TV show format. So I think overall, The Ones Who Live was just a reintroduction, right? And now they're going to be having a new show. I'm not sure. I've heard there's some legal issues. I can't really speak on it because I'm not really educated enough on that, but I've heard that there could be some potential legal problems with the original Walking Dead, and that's why the show ended anyway, because of like legal troubles and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm glad that all this is happening, because this really just goes to show that The Walking Dead is not a dead franchise. Like, obviously from a casual standpoint, The Walking Dead is not as popular as it used to be. But there are still so many, like there's tens of millions of diehard fans in the world. And I mean, that is a great thing still, right? That is a wonderful thing. That's a very popular show still. And there's a lot of people out there, so many negative, like just, weird negative people that like to hate on stuff for no reason because, people think because the internet gives you access to say your opinion that you should always say it and, it's always validated and stuff. It's not true. Um, but, I don't know, man. I think I think overall The Walking Dead is clearly obviously still a popular show and I'm glad that all this is happening because it goes to show The Walking Dead did not end because of lack of demand or lack of popularity. It actually ended probably because of the legal issues that they were having, right? Remember the lawsuits and all that stuff? A lot of stuff was going on, guys. So, um pretty, pretty interesting news, pretty big news, guys, Andy Lincoln, Scott Gimple, um, you know, ongoing discussions, a lot of tweets from Andrew Lincoln News with, crazy track record and stuff like that. I mean, it's very exciting to think about the potential, as a fan, right? I mean, obviously, if you're not a fan of the show and you just don't care, then you just don't care. That's fine. But I think that in the end, there's still a lot of people. There's still millions and millions and millions and millions of people that like this show, that love this show, that love these characters. And I mean, I think if they get everyone back together, it'd be huge, I think, stop all these, singular spinoffs and just get one big show back together. You know what I mean? That would be awesome. Rick, Michonne, Daryl, Negan, Maggie, Judith, maybe even Eugene, that'd be awesome. And I'm really sad that they killed off Rosita, man, because Rosita was a great character. I really wanted a Rosita spinoff. Is that crazy? I feel like I wanted a Rosita spinoff so bad because I thought she had so much depth as a character and her evolution was great. Her character development was wonderful. Sucks that she got capped in the last episode, man. I would have rather them kill off like Eugene or something than her. I thought Rosita had a lot of potential. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all the news that I have for you. Pretty exciting stuff. I mean, it's definitely interesting. It's definitely exciting. I think there's a lot of potential and a lot of things for us fans to look forward to. So, Sage, I appreciate you for being in here. Obviously, Big Blue Nation, I appreciate you as well. Money is good. Hope you're doing good as well. I saw your guys' comments. I was just in the middle of, going in about the news here. So, but if there's anything that you guys would like to discuss or talk about while I'm here, I'll keep the stream going. If there's anything you guys want to talk about, regarding this or anything at all ever, just let me know and I will, we'll keep it up and we'll keep it going, I don't have a time limit right now. I can stay on here for as long as I need to. I do have a video idea that I'm going to do later today, pretty much kind of just talking about this more as well, because I mean, there's definitely a lot of hints that there's something going on. I feel like at this point, you just have to be like an in denial hater to think that there's not something going on, right? Like there's definitely something going on with The Walking Dead, with Rick Grimes. There's definitely something going on. I mean, I'm just excited as hell to really be saying that again because like it's never been more true, man, that The Walking Dead is Rick's story. Like it is. It just is. Okay, all the spin-offs are cool. They're good they're good shows, they're good stuff, good content, whatever. But The Walking Dead is Rick's story from the beginning to the end. And I really believe there's always that question, where's Rick? What is Rick doing? What's going on with Rick, right? Like we want to see more Rick Grimes, more consistently for longer periods of time. It's that simple. That's what the fans want. And I know that Gimple wants to give the fans what they want. It just depends on what Andrew Lincoln is down to do. I know that Gimple, in his mind, he's like begging Andrew Lincoln, like, dude, come back. Let's do a longer show. We'll do 15, 16 episodes. We'll do a couple seasons, 2, 3, 4 seasons of it, maybe 5. Just give us like another 5 years of your life, please. Like, let's just knock this out. Let's give the fans what they want. I know that's what he was saying at that dinner that they had. I know that's what he was saying. He was telling him, like, dude, we'll back up the Brinks truck. We'll pay you whatever you want to get paid. We'll give you $20 million an episode. Just come on, Just bring your butt. Bring your butt back to the U.S. Let's get this knocked out. And this, don't get me wrong, guys. Like, this is the Walking Dead end game. Like, the end game is happening now. Like we're almost to that point. Like, with the announcement of Daryl Dixon ending, and obviously Dead City's probably going to end after season 3, I think. Yeah, Dead City's probably going to end after season 3. with all this stuff going on, like we're headed toward that end game. And I mean, honestly, I'm cool with it because I know that the end game is not just reunions and then boom, the end. Like no more story. We're gonna have more story. Norman Reedus has hinted at it. Rick Grimes has hinted, or Andrew Lincoln's hinted. Scott Gimple said The Walking Dead's gonna be on until like 2040 and beyond, possibly. I mean, we're not done with The Walking Dead, but this generation of The Walking Dead that we've been in for like the last 15 years with Rick Grimes, Daryl Dixon, like obviously we are kind of heading toward, the end. And that's okay, right? Like that doesn't necessarily mean, anything negative or bad. All good things come to an end, but could we get a show going and get these characters back together for another 5 to 7 years? Absolutely. You know what I mean? For sure. We could definitely get another 5 to 7 years of Andrew Lincoln as Rick Grimes and Norman Reedus as Daryl. And, what I mean? That could definitely happen. And then, I think that would set up the next generation of The Walking Dead, which would be led by Judith 100%. And, you think about like Kaylee Fleming. What is she, 18 now? If you think about maybe when she's like 24, 25 years old, that would be that next generation, and that would be cool. Maybe you could still have some cameos with Rick and Daryl then, stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, like we're still gonna have these characters that we know and love now for like another 5 to 7 years probably. And that's totally fine with me. I'm stoked for that. And as long as the story is good and the characters are awesome and there's bad A moments, I'm in, man. Sign me up. I love that. So yeah, I don't know. I really want to know what you guys think. I really do. So I'm going to um I'm gonna start a poll real quick in the channel. I want you guys to tell me, okay? I'm gonna start a poll in the stream and I want you guys to tell me what you think. All right, here we go. Poll's going up now. Um all right, here we go, guys. Let me know what you guys think. The poll is live. I want you guys to vote for me. Would you guys want Rick back for 5 more seasons of The Walking Dead? I want to know what you guys are, if you guys are down. And by that, I mean like 5 seasons of consistently seeing Rick. So like every year, once again, kind of like it used to be, right? Like back in the old days, 5 more seasons, seeing Rick. I mean, I would love it. I would love it. I would absolutely love it. Hey, what's up, Kevin? What's up, Molino? Great news coming. Oh yeah, for sure. There's all kinds of great news coming. I mean, there's a lot of really exciting stuff happening right now with The Walking Dead, man, for sure. There's some, anything involving Rick Grimes is going to be big. It's going to be really exciting. And we're at that stage right now where it's happening, I mean, we're at the stage where there's a lot of change, but a lot of it's good change, So I would definitely love to see Rick back for at least 5 more seasons of The Walking Dead, because I think we've missed out on so much Rick Grimes over the last little bit here. We missed out on so much, and The Ones Who Live was great, but it didn't necessarily scratch the itch, I think, it was a reintroduction. It was a great reintroduction, but we want more. We want more, man. We need more. So, Andrew is a dope actor, and his role as Rick Grimes is awesome. Yeah, I mean, he's a great actor, and his role as Rick is incredible. I mean, he's one of the greatest characters in fiction ever. I mean, he's up there with like Arthur Morgan and Joel Miller. I think maybe even better. I mean, he's a great character. Rick Grimes is awesome. So yeah, guys. I mean, pretty insane stuff, pretty awesome stuff. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I think that Rick Grimes is back. I mean, this pretty much confirms Rick is back with the Andrew Lincoln news tweets, with him and Scott Gimple meeting up, with Andrew Lincoln himself confirming that there are ongoing discussions about his return to The Walking Dead, I mean, it practically confirms that Rick is coming back. And it's like I told you guys all along, Rick's not going anywhere. We have all this story left to tell. There's a lot of story left to tell. Do you think it would be more seasons of The Ones Who Live or entirely new spinoff? And do you think they would bring back everyone from the Commonwealth? Um, I would love to see them just redo the Walking Dead original series or like restart that, but I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. I've heard there's like some legal issues and stuff with that. I don't know for a fact though, so I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I'm not sure if they could actually do any more of The Walking Dead. Um, but do I think it'll be more seasons of The Ones Who Live? Based on the Andrew Lincoln News tweet that just came out the other day, I'm thinking that it might be more seasons of The Ones Who Live, because it's hard to have Rick without Michonne, but I do see, I actually do see a world where we could have a Rick show without Michonne. And I know people are probably going to think, how's that make any sense? Well, there's just a lot of things that, like, The Walking Dead is really, really good at making stories where, other characters are supposed to be, but they just, like, write them out really well. Like, The Walking Dead's done that, like, pretty much time and time again. And, like, with Maggie when she left, Michonne when she left, even Rick, they've written these characters out pretty well. So like if Denai Guerrera doesn't want to do something right now, if she's like, I'm kind of over The Walking Dead right now. I don't really want to go back and do it. We just did The Ones Who Live. I'm kind of just chilling out. Don't want to do that, whatever. Focused on other things in my life, my acting career, whatever, right? If she doesn't want to come back and do it, if she doesn't want to come back to Michonne, then I really do believe they can just write her out and, she'll be good to go. There we go. They could write her out for sure. She could be, out looking for communities or out, helping, something else. Maybe they could have her come back just for like a quick scene, be like, hey, I understand, we respect that you don't want to come back right now, but we want to leave the door open for you to come back while we continue with this story. So like, can you just come film, 1 day shoot, just like for the introduction of this new series, this new show, or the continuation of The Ones Who Live, or even the continuation of the Walking Dead original series, whatever they do, they could have Denai come back and film like a 1 day shoot of her, practically out scavenging and surviving, talking to Rick on the radio or something like that, saying that she'll be back, she's coming back, but there's stuff she needs to do, stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of things they could do. You know what I mean? There's endless things that they could do. So, I mean, it just doesn't really matter. Michonne being there, it doesn't really matter. The main thing is that Rick is there. With Rick, anything is possible. Wow, we have our first no on the poll. I wish I knew who voted no, because I would like to hear why you don't want Rick back for 5 more seasons. But yeah, they can do anything. They can write anybody in, write anybody out, whenever they want. It doesn't really matter. And Michonne's not, as important as Rick. I tried to explain that to somebody. I was having a debate in the comment section because someone was saying that Michonne was a more popular character, and I was like, no, she's not. It's not an insult to Michonne, but if you think that there's a character that's more, that brings more eyes to The Walking Dead than Rick Grimes, you don't know what you're talking about. There's just not. The only character that was ever actually more popular than Rick was Daryl Dixon. And by popular, I mean like among the fans. And what people don't understand is when you say more popular, that's not always the same thing as, demand to watch, right? So, for example, Rick Grimes, there's more demand to watch Rick Grimes than there is Michonne. A Michonne solo spinoff would not do as good as a Rick Grimes solo spinoff. For example, Rick Grimes has been gone for a long time before The Ones Who Live, and fans were constantly, making all these jokes about where's Rick, but nobody was ever really too concerned about like where Michonne was, even though we know she was going to look for him. But like nobody was sitting here saying like, "Oh, I miss Michonne so much," right? Like obviously there were people that probably said that, but you get what I'm saying. There wasn't the same amount of people saying that, right, as there was for Rick. Rick has always been the face of the franchise. He's like the franchise quarterback of The Walking Dead, man. And I mean, in the end, Rick Grimes has always been, the biggest character, and he brings more eyes than anybody. The Ones Who Live got more viewers on AMC Plus than Daryl Dixon and Dead City. And Rick Grimes was trending more than anybody. You know what I mean? He was trending more than Michonne was. He was trending more than a lot of people. You know, Rick Grimes is definitely right now currently the most popular character. And there's more demand to watch his story than anyone else's. So, I mean, that's just like a brain dead argument. I think if you're really trying to argue that Michonne is, has more demand to the screen and more demand in the fan base to watch than Rick Grimes, I mean, I feel like you're not in touch with reality at all. I think you're not in touch with the Walking Dead reality. I think that it's like you're kind of just living in a fantasy world. The level of hype for the ones who live was hyped up because of Rick Grimes coming back, not Michonne. We were hyped up to see what was going on with Rick. We were hyped up to see what was happening with him. You know what I mean? That's what we were all wanting to see. So, I mean, that's just what it was, man. So, um, yeah, we'll see what happens. Um, and it's not an insult. Like, I'm glad that you agree with me, because it's not an insult to Michonne. Everyone always thinks that when I say stuff like that, it's an insult to her or Denai Guerrera or, no, it's not. Michonne's a great character. She is. She's a really cool character. I really like her a lot. She's a badass character. But you have to be realistic, right? You have to use logic with these things and look at the data, look at the information, and use common sense. The Ones Who Live was popular because of Rick Grimes returning, not Michonne. Not Michonne, bro. Nobody was super super excited to see Michonne. Of course, it's cool, but the main focus was Rick. During the Michonne episode in The Ones Who Live on episode 2, I was kind of like, let's get this over with. I want to see Rick. You see what I'm saying? And most people were thinking that way. It was a good episode, but we wanted to see Rick more, right? We're like, get this off, right? Let's see Rick. Everyone wants to see Rick. He's the best character. He just is. And I'll even go as far as saying, and this is huge for me personally, I've been watching The Walking Dead for about maybe 14 years. I don't even know. 14, 13 years. I started a little bit late because I was only 10 years old when the original series aired. That's a little young to be watching the gory, violent stuff, right? But my dad let me watch it when I was 12, I believe, or 11 or 12. So I've been watching for like 14, 13 years, a long time. And Daryl Dixon's always been my favorite character because I believe that I see a lot of myself in Daryl Dixon, right? When I'm watching, I'm like, I would do that. And you know, I have a little bit of a rough childhood. I know, maybe you guys wouldn't think that because I'm, such a cool person and everything, But I had a little bit of a rough childhood, pretty rough childhood actually, pretty bad childhood, and that kind of like always, just that resonated with me. Daryl Dixon has always been a character that, you know, I connect with. So I mean, Daryl will always be like my favorite character overall throughout the Walking Dead original series, but in the current state with the Ones Who Live, I think that it's now tied with Rick. I think Daryl and Rick are now tied with my favorite characters, and I can't really say I like one more than the other. I just have to say it's tied. That they're tied, man, because I really think that they're the best characters. I think Daryl and Rick are the best characters, and that man, that show, The Ones Who Live, man, it brought a level of intensity that The Walking Dead's been lacking. There was a level of intensity and a level of hype that we just haven't seen in a very long time. And I mean, that was something that was brilliant. It was incredible to watch. It was just so fun. Having that show happen the way it happened and when it happened, I just remember staying up late as hell watching those episodes like, wow, this is good, man. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I think you have to have both of them come back. That's why, I think they're, planning on something next year because obviously we know next year Daryl Dixon's going to end. And then when Daryl Dixon ends, we'll have the continuation of the story, which will be, I mean, I'm really thinking that they're going to lean towards like maybe a Daryl and Rick spinoff, and honestly, I mean, that would be awesome. I don't know, about all these other characters, but in my opinion, the two biggest characters they could put together for a big show without bringing everyone back and maybe introducing, I think they could start with Daryl and Rick. They could really just start with Rick. It would be fine. And then they could introduce Daryl Dixon later if they wanted, right? and then introduce Maggie and Negan later if they wanted, right? And then Michonne comes back from her trip, right? Everyone's back together, and then there's a new threat they face. There's always a new threat, right? That's just the world. That's the make of the land, man. Like that's just the way it is. Um, so there's a lot of stuff they could do, endless opportunities, endless possibilities. But Daryl, Rick need to be kind of like the face of the show, I think. And Judith would be fine too. Judith would be cool. But man, I am stoked for all this news, guys. A lot of awesome stuff brewing up. A lot of great things happening right now, currently in The Walking Dead. I think that there's so much potential. With Rick Grimes, anything is possible. We just have to look at it and we have to be honest. A lot of possibility, a lot of interesting stuff. Um, I can't wait, guys. I can't wait. I'm so excited to cover this stuff and be here with everybody. So, you know, we'll just keep trucking along, man. We're gonna keep doing our thing. We're gonna keep making videos, keep doing streams. Um, Carly, hope you're doing good. But yeah, we're gonna keep doing our thing, guys. If you guys like The Walking Dead, don't forget to subscribe, drop a like. Go check out some of the videos, go check out the playlists. I really want to get back into doing Q&As. I know Q&As were really popular on the channel. They were always like pretty much the most viewed videos that I did. Q&As just always did really good. I know you guys love interacting and stuff like that. And so do I. I love interacting with you guys. I like hearing your theories and, talking about what you guys think is going to happen. All this stuff's really interesting. So, yeah, I mean, you guys are awesome. The Walking Dead fans are always the best. So, um, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we missed. I mean, we pretty much covered it all, guys. We covered it all pretty much. I mean, there's just a lot of cool stuff happening. And obviously Andrew Lincoln. I think I'm gonna close this poll now. But yeah, so most of you guys seem to think that you guys would enjoy seeing Rick back more longer, right? All right, longer term. We need Rick to come back. I'm pinning your message because I agree. 100%. I want you guys to participate in this Q&A with me, guys. So I just started a Q&A. Rick 100% coming back. Rick 100% will be back. Don't worry, Carly. Rick is back and better than ever. He's going to be back. It's going to be really exciting, guys. We're going to have a lot of really awesome Walking Dead moments. What about Heath? Yeah, I mean, the whole Heath thing is just, who knows? But I kind of like it at this point, to be honest, because it kind of adds a sense of realism. I mean, if you think about it, there would always be like things happening that are unexplainable and unanswered in that world. It's kind of a cool thing now to me. At first, I thought it was kind of like corny, to have a guy disappear. I mean, but Heath was never that big of a character anyway. But I kind of thought it was corny at first. Like, how is that character just going to disappear? But then when you really think about it, it's kind of settled in realism. Like, I think in that world, in that environment, there's always going to be like unexplained, unanswered things that happened, that we don't really know about. And it's kind of like, well, what happened to him? What happened to her? Right? Like, who knows? You know what I mean? And it's not like they do it all the time. There's not been a ton of unanswered things, or unanswered plot points and everything like that. The PPP stuff is interesting. Did you guys see the PPP stuff in Daryl Dixon season 3? Did you guys see that or no? On the finale? I don't know if you guys saw that. It was on a backpack. The PPP stuff was on a backpack. And it was definitely placed there on purpose, for sure. So, I don't really know what the PPP stuff is. I don't really know what it means or what it is. We've seen it. They've intentionally put it in the show for a long time, you know? Yo, Maria D, this would make my old heart so happy. Hey, I don't know what you're talking about, but Rick's coming back. If that's what's going to make you happy, then hey, you're going to be really happy because Rick's coming back. I saw it look like a jacket thing. Yeah, it looked like a jacket or a backpack. I wasn't really sure what it was, but there was something there. And they've put it, think about it. They've put it in so many different shows. Wasn't it in Fear the Walking Dead too? I think it was in Fear. I think it was definitely in The Ones Who Live 100%. It was on the whiteboard in the season finale. And it's like they waited for the finale on The Ones Who Live to show it. And now they're waiting for on the finale for Daryl Dixon, right? Daryl Dixon season 3 finale. I mean, they're showing it in these finales on purpose just to kind of remind us that it's there. You see what I'm saying? It's definitely intentional and it definitely means something. You know, there's something going on with it. I don't know what the hell it is though. I don't know what it means. But there's something going on there with the PPP stuff and it's definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting. I don't know what it means, but I'm here for it, you know? I'm here for it. But I just don't know. I thought it had something to do with. I remember at first people were thinking it was like a Whisperers thing, like the Whisperers captured Heath. Um, and then with the CRM. I mean, do we really know what happened to Heath at all? Like, would it be safe to say that Jadis took him? You know, would it be? Is that the most realistic outcome or possibility? I mean, I feel like it is, right? I feel like the most realistic thing that happened to Heath was that Jadis traded him to the CRM. You know? I mean, I feel like just logically that's the most likely scenario, right? That seems most likely. I agree, Carly, 100%. Yes, it's all about Rick. I love him in The Walking Dead so much. Praying this is true. Thanks for going live with this fantastic news. Not for sure. I always try to cover it. You know, I always try to stay on top of it. I'm really active on my Twitter and everything, and I'm always looking for pictures, updates, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate you guys for being here. It's definitely, it's definitely happening for sure. Rick's coming back. It's just always the question of, you know, how is he coming back, right? What are, you know, what is the structure, right, of his comeback? What's going to be that storyline? What's going to be happening? How long is he going to be back for, you know? Andrew Lincoln's 52 years old, not necessarily super young, but not necessarily old either. You know, 52, like I mentioned earlier, is not that old these days. He obviously looks pretty damn good and has been taking care of himself. So, overall, I think he's got another. I think he could be Rick for another 10 years, to be honest. Do I think we're going to get that? No. But, I mean, dude, we're going to get at least, hopefully, 3 to 5 seasons. I wanted to get back to what it used to be. You know, at least 12 episodes, you know. But I think 16 would be fine again, you know. People probably think that's not going to happen. And it may not. But I think 12 would be fine. 16 would be fine. I'm cool with longer seasons. It's like I always said about killing Rick off, okay? And I said this a long time ago in a video, maybe like over a year ago in a video. Yeah, during The Ones Who Live, because there were like people saying, what if Rick dies at the end? And I was saying, they're not going to kill Rick off at the end of The Ones Who Live, because that's not his final story. And I've been saying this the whole time for, you know, over a year and a half now, that like Rick's story was not going to end after The Ones Who Live. And my thing is, if Andrew Lincoln, the only reason or the only way they're going to kill Rick off ever in The Walking Dead is if Andrew Lincoln like wholeheartedly sat down with Scott Gimple and said, "Hey, I am done with Rick Grimes. I'm done with the Walking Dead universe. I truthfully just don't want to return because I'm just kind of done with the story and I'm over it and I'm done, right? If he said that, then like they could possibly kill him off. But I think even then, Scott Gimple would say, well, let's just like end it and end your story, but like keep it open ended. I don't think Scott Gimple logically or realistically would ever want to kill Andrew Lincoln or kill Rick Grimes. I mean, so I don't really know. I mean, if it all depends on Andrew Lincoln. If Andrew Lincoln is truthfully done with the character and done with the universe, then yeah, they could totally kill him off. At that point, why not have a sick, super viral death scene? I mean, can you imagine a scene? Like, like think about it realistically. Imagine a scene where Rick dies and like Michonne finds him or Judith finds him as a walker, or Daryl finds him as a walker. That would be insane, right? Yo, what's up, movie? It would be nuts. It would be such an insanely iconic viral moment that would probably break the internet. Like Rick Grimes has finally died officially, right? I mean, it would be a sad day, but it would be crazy. Like imagine that scene where maybe there's like a fight scene or something, or there's like a war going on maybe, and Daryl finds Rick, kind of like he found Merle. Wouldn't that be like a crazy callback or a crazy throwback to the old days? Imagine Daryl, tries to come and help save Rick because Rick went off on some like superhero mission like he did in season 9 with the horse, kind of like Merle did back in season 3. And then next thing you know, it's like all smoky and stuff and it's all burnt down to the ground and Daryl is kind of the last man standing like Beth said, and he goes and he sees Rick eating somebody's body. Wouldn't that be crazy with the hand and everything? Just like Merle, right? Merle's hand was gone, Rick's hand is gone. Wouldn't that be something? That'd be such a crazy moment. It'd be kind of like one of those. It'd be kind of one of those like here we go again moments, right? With Daryl, where like Daryl's finding his brother dead. I think it would be bad, but if Rick's truly done, then I don't see why they wouldn't kill him, right? I think at that point you have to kill him. If he's truly done. But at the same time, I think there could be that damage control element where it's like, hey, if we kill you off, it's going to be a bad thing for The Walking Dead, bro. Like, even if he just stays alive and is never in the show again, like lives happily ever after, future spinoffs would have like a more positive tone and taste to him, like within the fan base, right? Like people would say, hey, well, like, there's a new Walking Dead show. Yeah, it doesn't have Rick, but, hey, but if Rick died, it could be so bad, like the damage could be so hard. You know what I mean? It could be such a bad thing where it's like everyone's like, "Oh man, f this show. I'm done with this universe. AMC can suck my butt. I'm out." You know what I mean? Everyone's just like done or suck my nuts, like Abraham said. It could be such a bad thing if they killed him, but at the same time, like I wouldn't be against killing Rick if he's truly done. If Andrew Lincoln was truly done, then I mean, I wouldn't be against it. If we're never going to see him away or never see him again, either way, right? I mean, but I think once you kill him, that door is like it's kind of finalized, it's kind of cemented closed, right? Like it's like, well, it's not happening no matter what. I think you leave stuff open ended or leave them alive at least because it kind of creates that landscape where there's endless possibilities in the future for cameos and little moments that could be still impactful. Um, imagine a scene. Imagine they come back, right? Imagine they come back and do 3 to 5 seasons with like Rick and The Walking Dead again or whatever, right? Whether it's like The Walking Dead season 12 or like, The Ones Who Live and they keep that going, or if it's a brand new show, right, with Rick and everyone gets back together, Daryl, everybody, right? Let's say that happens. The Walking Dead Reborn or something, I don't know. They do that for 3 to 5 seasons and then there's a massive time jump at the end, like 20 years or something, right? Um, or maybe not even 20 years, or maybe there's no time jump, right? I don't know. And then there's like a new Walking Dead show, like The Walking Dead Next Generation with Judith and RJ and stuff like that, and all these new characters. And then in that show, there's little cameo appearances of like Daryl and Rick maybe and stuff like that, right? Where maybe I think what would be absolutely so bad A and awesome would be if there was like a Walking Dead Next Generation show that went on for like 5 seasons or something. And then, you know, towards the end of like the actual Walking Dead, like maybe like the Walking Dead is actually going to end someday, right? Like maybe like 15 years from now, whatever. It would be so awesome if like Judith got herself in some really bad trouble, right? Like imagine this like 15 years from now, and like Daryl and Rick were to like end up saving her or something. Wouldn't that be so awesome? Like, imagine a scene where like Judith is in the woods, like surrounded by like walkers that are like evolving and they're like faster and stuff, whatever, right? Maybe not, but just she's down in a bad spot, right? And she's like completely screwed. And like right when you think she's like about to die, like Daryl just pops up, like old as hell, like 72-year-old Norman Reedus, right? Like just weathered, like maybe even some facial hair, like super long gray hair with like a poncho and his crossbow, and he like shoots the walker in the head right in front of her, and then like it just shows him like sprinting towards her with his knife out, and he starts going crazy. Like, wouldn't that be freaking sick? Like a moment like that would be money, like 15 years from now. You know what I'm saying? Where is this at? I'm not sure. Scott Gimple and Andrew Lincoln had dinner somewhere. I believe it was the UK. I believe it was. I'm not sure. Yo, Gavin, what's good, man? Um, Hope you're doing good, Gavin, my brother. Uh, do you want the next Walking Dead story with Rick and Daryl and the gang back in Georgia, Atlanta, or like the old days survival? Um, I've always thought it would be really sick. And maybe this is just, maybe this is just me being a super ultra nerd fan, but I've always thought that it would be so freaking awesome to have them go back to like the farmhouse and try to like revamp up the farmhouse. And obviously it's never going to happen because they've already done that, and it's like rinse and repeat, not going to happen at this stage because like it would probably make people lose interest. But that's just the way my brain is. Like, I would like to see them go back to where they were, like especially Maggie, right? Like Maggie has so much history at that farm. It would be so awesome. Imagine if she like went back into the house, and imagine if she went back to the farmhouse and she like, went through her dad's closet, and it was like Herschel's closet, and she like found his little like alcohol flask, you know what I mean? And stuff like that, or one of his old watches and stuff, and pictures of him. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if the farmhouse has been untouched this whole time, and she goes back there with Herschel and like hangs it up there. What if that's like her goal? What if that's like Maggie's end game? Where she's like, hey, I want to go back. I know that the world has changed, but like I want my son and me to live on the farm where I grew up, right? Like I want my son to grow up there. What if that's like the end game for Maggie? I think that'd be sick. Not gonna lie, I think that'd be so awesome. I think it'd be really awesome. Imagine Maggie gets her own spinoff. Maggie returns to the farm. That's the spinoff title. There we go. That's so terrible. Holy, imagine Maggie Ree's return to the farm. But I think it could be really sick for Maggie to go back there and kind of relive those memories and remember Beth and remember, Jimmy and Otis and what's her name? What was the blonde girl's name? The Was that Beth's mom? Who was that girl? No, it was Otis's wife. Who was Otis's wife? What was her name? Maria? Something with an M, right? What was the girl's name in season 2? The blonde chick that died at the end of season 2 when they were trying to get to the car and the zombies ripped her out of Beth's hand. Marsha? I'm tweaking. It's not Marsha. The prison arc was goaded. Patricia, that's her name. Definitely not with an M. My bad. Patricia, that's her name. Yes. Imagine like she would go back and remember like Patricia and Otis and freaking Jimmy and freaking Beth and Herschel and just all the family. Like I think that there's so much family history. Yeah, you're right, 100%, Gavin. It was definitely it was Patricia. Maria says that's a cool idea. The farmhouse has memories for so many principal characters. 100%. The farmhouse was special. One of the best eras of The Walking Dead, for sure. The farm was something else, man. Um, it'd be awesome. Like that's something that needs to happen when like The Walking Dead truly ends. Like it'd be sick to kind of have like this would be my if you guys want to know what my ideal ending for The Walking Dead would look like. So my ideal ending for The Walking Dead would be practically to where every single character was to split off and go do their own thing, but not in a continuation, sense of like the story, but as like a closed, chapter, like a happily ever after where like Maggie goes back to the farm with Herschel, and maybe if Maggie ever has like a new significant other or something, they go back to the farm, or maybe Daryl goes with them or something. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It would be one of those things where it would be like it'd be so sick to have kind of like their own thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it'd be awesome. Like Maggie's back at the farm. Maybe Daryl's, with Rick and Judith and Michonne or something. And then, like Negan's out doing his own thing. And it'd be so cool to like just have that ending where it's like, Rick's like, hey, doing his own thing. Everyone's just kind of doing their own thing. Like, I mean, of course, like everyone being together would be cool, but I feel like realistically, everyone would kind of want to get back to like life before the apocalypse. You know what I mean? That's just like my opinion. I feel like they'd want to get back to, you know, kind of like what it was before, what they knew before, right? Like just like civilized world, civilized society. Maggie back at the farm. I think it'd be sick, man. Honestly, Daryl out in the woods, maybe even. What if Daryl and Carol? See, like that'd be a cool ending, right? Like Daryl and Carol traveling around, that'd be something that'd be cool. Imagine if it just showed them like on a bike riding off and be like their journey never stopped, or Daryl and Carol's journey never ended. You know what I mean? It just shows them as like old ass people like riding around on a bike on the ocean or something with dog, you know, like just having fun with like tents set up on the ocean, just enjoying the view, like some tropical. It'd be cool to change it up like that, you know? If The Walking Dead is really ending, when it ends, they need to do something from a cinematic standpoint with the scenery like that truly is different, like a truly tropical like ocean. Imagine Daryl and Carol like on the beach. I know we're seeing that a lot right now, but like I'm talking like a tropical, fun, like Florida type of vibe, right? That'd be so cool. Like just like as old people, like just there on the beach having fun, and then like Rick and Michonne and Judith, still doing stuff with the CRM, whatever, right? Like that'd be sick. Maggie back at the farmhouse. Imagine Maggie and Negan start like dating and they go back to the farmhouse, right? I mean, obviously that's not gonna happen, but holy shit, right? That'd be crazy. I mean, there's just like endless possibilities, bro. But like that would be the ending I would want to see. Everyone always talks about like, wanting to see, you know, everyone happily together. I don't want to see that really. I don't know. I feel like I've seen that before with the show, like in Alexandria and the Commonwealth. I've already seen that ending. I want to see the ending where like everyone gets to go do what they want to do. You know, Daryl and Carol traveling the world still as old people. Negan just doing his own thing. It'd be cool to like see Negan kind of like leading a group of people or something, kind of like he was before, but just not being like an evil guy, but just like leading people, kind of like being the old Negan, but just like a good guy. That'd be awesome. Um, Rick and Michonne doing their thing, and then like I would love to see Maggie back at the farm. I would just love to see that. Like that would make me feel like this sense of happiness that I've just like never felt. Um, I just want Ricky to come back, bro. Rick's coming back, bro. 100%. I can promise you now. I can guarantee everybody here that Rick's coming back, and within the next year we'll have an announcement. Promise. I never let you guys down. Do you think they will do a plot with the Primrose team? Possibly. I'm not sure. That would be cool, man. I'm telling you right now, I get like goosebumps when I think about seeing Maggie back at the farm. Like imagine Maggie just raising Herschel. It would be so sick to have a scene with like an old Maggie, like when it's all ending for like good, right? Like when it's like truly when they're truly wrapped up. Like an old Maggie in her like, 50s, 60s, and Herschel's like a grown ass man, you know what I mean? Like 20 years old, 30 years old, whatever. And he's like out farming with Maggie and stuff, and they're at the farmhouse and they walk in and stuff, and Maggie's got pictures of Herschel up and everything. It'd be such a tribute to Scott Wilson too, who unfortunately passed away in real life, who was just such a great actor. And from what everyone has said about Scott Wilson, if that's his name, I'm pretty sure it is. I'm bad with names. Primrose could be part of PPP for sure. It could be, 100%. Well, I don't know 100%, but it's. I mean, anything's possible, right? At this age, we don't know much about PPP really. It's like this unknown Walking Dead conspiracy that we'll freaking never find out, I guess. But like, Scott Wilson was such a great man, such a great actor, and Herschel was such a meaningful, powerful character. Herschel was kind of like the heart and soul of The Walking Dead at a point in time. He came in, was kind of like this grumpy old man, right? This like former alcoholic, good guy, but very skeptical of Rick and his group. Obviously, everybody would be at that point in time in the world. But I mean, dude, seeing Maggie back at the farm literally gives me this feel of like wholesome nostalgia that like I can't even express really. You know what I mean? I don't know why. I'm not the like biggest Maggie fan, but like there's so much history at the farm, and the farm era is always going to be so special. It's always been so special. Like for me, when I go back and rewatch The Walking Dead, like going from like, you know, watching season 1 and season 2, it just when Rick's carrying Carl through the field and, just all that stuff. The walkers in the barn. Those small little conflicts were so big. Now, with the current stage of The Walking Dead, that's why storytelling is so difficult and it's so hard to write a story because, there's so many things that they did back in the day already that wouldn't work now, right? We wouldn't be interested anymore. You know? Yeah, he was a great guy. Scott Wilson was a great dude. I almost said Scott Gimple. There would need to be flashbacks with Carl, Beth, Herschel. Yeah, I mean, I think for sure flashback scenes with Beth and Carl being there and everything would be so cool. I would love to see Maggie, and they could do it all like in a very like fast way, right? Like where throughout like a 10-minute sequence. It doesn't need to be like its own spinoff. Like it doesn't need to be this thing where it's like I said, like a spinoff. Maggie returns to the farm and freaking, you know what I mean? It doesn't need to be that. But it could be like the end of The Walking Dead when it's finally over, like just like a 10 to 15-minute sequence where Maggie arrives with Herschel to the farm while he's still a kid or a younger kid, like maybe like a teenager, and then they fix it up and it kind of just like it's like a time lapse thing, right? Where it just kind of shows the farmhouse like with like moss all over it and like overgrown weeds and stuff, and then Maggie's like on a tractor cutting all the grass and shit, right? And then you know what I'm saying? Like it could be this really cool thing. And then the farmhouse is all cleaned up, and then like Maggie's in the kitchen making food for Herschel or something, right? And there's like chickens and everything, and it's like a thriving farm again, right? And she's like built a fence all the way, like a better fence all the way around, and they got like power generators and stuff. You know what I mean? It'd be so sick. That'd be so awesome. Like it'd be so lit. And then next thing you know, Maggie's like old, and Herschel's a grown ass man. He's like in his 20s and 30s now. Maggie's like got gray hair and wrinkles. It'd be easy to do that with makeup. Bro, Shane carried the farm era so hard. Yeah, Shane was an interesting one. Shane was an interesting character. He was a great character. John Bernthal. It sucks that such a great actor got cast to play such a bad character because Shane on The Walking Dead longer would have been insane. Bro, you need to rewrite The Walking Dead. Your ideas are crazy good. Yeah, well, I have a lot of things going on. I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret right now, okay? And this is something that's top level secret, and the only reason I'm gonna tell you guys about this is because which one was Shane? He was Rick's partner, like the cop in the very beginning. Rick's partner that banged his wife. um, but I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret I have. So I've always been very creative with storytelling, and I've always had all these ideas. I'm actually an extremely creative guy on so many different levels and so many different avenues of life, right? I've always been really into like video games and creating fictional worlds and all this stuff. And I have a lot of stuff going on in life right now that could be potentially huge. Um, And I'm only letting you guys in on this because we're towards the end of the stream, probably, and I am, how many people are going to go back and rewatch the whole thing? It's not that big of a deal, No one really knows who I am on here, whatever. But guys, I have some stuff going on that could be potentially huge in my life from a financial level. I'm just going to be honest with you. And if everything works out the way that it's supposed to work out over the next like 6 months to a year, then 100% I'm like 1,000,000% going to do my own story some way, somehow, whether it's a comic. I would love to do a comic. I actually have been in contact with artists, um, with like people that can draw and do like digital art and stuff like that with comic books that are really good. And I've like kind of brainstormed ideas with them, and I pretty much can 100% confirm that I am going to release like my own comic book series someday. It will happen, 100%, and it's going to be really awesome and really good. So if you guys like my ideas and you guys think my ideas are awesome, just wait till you see what I can do with like original characters. And I hope someday that leads into film. I would love to get into film someday and like be a director. I think I would love to be a writer, a director. I really want to get into that with doing like short films and stuff. I have a lot of really sick ideas, and if all this stuff happens in my life that could potentially free me, I'm gonna bring all this stuff to life. You know what I mean? So you should do what ifs, Gavin. Yeah, I mean, I probably will, bro. Honestly. We got 26 people in here, guys. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. I'm the coolest YouTuber you've ever met, man. 100%. Let me see. Walking Dead started doing the woke thing, which I wish they'd continue without all that. What do you think was super woke about The Walking Dead? Because I actually disagree. I think The Walking Dead has stayed relatively neutral from a woke standpoint. I wish you much success and happiness in your new ventures. Thank you. I appreciate you. I wish you nothing but success as well. I hope it works out for you. I wish you nothing but the best. Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys. No, I'm serious, guys. And when all this stuff happens, when I do my comic book series, man, I'm gonna have it on here. I'm gonna post the links and stuff to the store here so you guys can buy the comics and read it and keep up with it. And who knows, maybe someday it's gonna turn into a TV show. I want to do my own series. I have multiple crazy ideas in my head. I'm kind of like I have a lot of Scott Gimple in me, to be honest. Like I hear the way he talks about what he thinks about, and I'm like, I think like that a lot too. You know? Um, Wait, what is Andrew doing in this picture? Andrew is hanging out with Scott Gimple. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but he's hanging out with Scott Gimple, and they're talking about the Walking Dead future. So that's what's happening in this photo. They were going out to dinner. I would love to see your ideas. Yeah, there's a lot, bro. There's a lot there. I've practically been like coming up with comic book ideas for like the last 7 years, 8 years, pretty heavily. And obviously like short films and stuff like that I really wanted to get into as well. Um, you know, and just like get, some young actors and actresses and bring my ideas to life. I can write a really good story. And I wanted to do that super bad. And with all this stuff happening, if all this stuff happens and takes off like I know it can, you know, I'm gonna for sure make all this stuff come to life, and it's gonna be a really fun time. And this channel means a lot to me, and it's always gonna be involved with what I'm doing and what I'm up to. Oh, that's good. It is good. It's very good. Yo, I gotta go. Nice being in the live. Good one. Have a good one, bro. Stay safe out there in the crazy world. Hey, you too. Stay safe out there in the crazy world, man. It's a crazy world. You gotta stay safe out there. Um, but yeah, guys. A lot of cool stuff happening in life, man. We've been live for over an hour now. This was a great stream. This might be my favorite stream I've ever had. We've had no trolls. We've had nothing but genuine people. But I wanted to touch on what this guy commented, actually talking about like the woke stuff with The Walking Dead, because he says I just never bought the badass lesbian shtick. So it's interesting because I am a fairly, you know, I don't even know how to say it. Hold on. What are you guys saying? Thank you. Go Jays, go. Yeah. Not for nothing. You, the Walking Dead family, is the best, most reliable when it comes to the Walking Dead news on YouTube. I mean, hey, I try my hardest, man. I've been really consistent. Um, and I've always been really accurate with a lot of the information that I've dropped to people, and when I've tried to tell people that something's going on. So you know what I mean. I've always tried. But back to the woke thing. Look, I definitely don't think that the woke stuff is like great. Because what's up, Savage? What's up, Christian? But I don't think The Walking Dead's been that bad. I don't think The Walking Dead's been that bad. Oh, not much. Savage is living the dream. What's weird, Christian? Not much, just living a dream. Savage, going live, chilling with people, talking, having some good conversations in here. Woke to what? Like there's like that narrative of modernized television shows focusing more on like political ideologies and political agendas. Kind of, you know, making shows focus more on, politicizing than actual storytelling. Kind of like where, for example, if you make a new show in today's world, a new TV show, there is a narrative out there in the world, and I do agree. And I mean, I know for a fact that it's real to an extent, right? That's one thing I want to like. I know for a fact that it's real to an extent, but like, there's that narrative where like you have to hire, somebody who is of darker skin tone, right? Or you have to hire or write in some sort of um, LGBT character, right? Like that's a real thing in the world for sure because of the normalization of it. So it practically essentially is like, since that's one of those things that, they are normalizing now, right? In the world where it's like we're seeing a lot more LGBT, a lot more all this, all that, right? Like you see it even with like commercials and advertisements and stuff like that. They're trying to connect with everybody. So when they make a new show, they have to have these, characters that are gay or LGBT or whatever it is. And it's the same thing with you know, black characters, Asian characters, Mexican characters, whatever it is, right? There's definitely that thing there when you're writing a character, when you're writing something or making something, where Christian, I don't know what you're talking about. Um, I don't know what this guy's talking about. Is Christian trolling, guys? Chat, be honest. Is Christian trolling? I don't know. Is Christian a bot? Do we need to time him out? Did we time Christian out? Where's my mod, man? Where's Sage? Sage. Molino says The Walking Dead has not been bad at all. I agree, even with the spinoffs. Yeah, I mean, I'm not into Dead City. Mitsubishi Lancer Evo, remember? Did you really not see that happening towards the later series? You mean like the later seasons? That guy's got to go, guys. I'm sorry. Christian as well. I don't have any time for that in life. No disrespect, guys. Look at all those messages deleted. But it is what it is. You got to go if you're gonna be, if you're gonna be being a weirdo. I don't know what kind of drugs these guys are on, but holy smokes. So you're talking about later in the series. So you're talking about like the season 9, probably with Magna and Yumiko, having a lesbian relationship, right? Is that what you're talking about? So my thing is when it comes to lesbian and gay characters in a show, right? And I'm just gonna be 100% honest with you. I believe that within reason, right, you can have lesbian and gay characters, and I don't necessarily think that means it's like woke, because I mean, if we're being logical and pragmatic with the whole entire dynamic, I mean, gay people are a real, they're a thing, and they exist in the world, and they have existed from the, beginning of time, you know? I mean, there's like gay people have existed for a long time. So I don't necessarily think that just because you have a gay character or a gay relationship in a show that it means the show is like woke. I don't necessarily agree with that because I think logically I think, woke can mean a variety of different things, right? Woke kind of just it's kind of a vague term in a way, or it kind of it means like what does woke really mean, right? Like it means a lot of different things. There's a lot of different dynamics, right, with that. So, but I don't necessarily think just having a gay relationship or a LGBT character or whatever means that your show is woke. Um, because they exist. You know what I mean? It's true, they exist. Is it? Do I really think it's ever necessary? Um, no, but I'm not like completely disgusted or like, I've always been a traditional guy, but at the same time, I think you have to be respectful. You know what I mean? And truth is that, LGBT people do exist. And, with modernized TV, they're going to try to connect with everybody. That's just the way it is. That's common sense. But I do think that The Walking Dead has done a pretty good job of staying neutral. I mean, like, I like look at some of the other shows. There's been a lot of shows that are like so woke they're hard to watch because it's just like I feel like I'm watching a protest. You know, I never felt that with The Walking Dead. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to feel like I'm watching a protest, and I don't care if that's from a Republican view or a Democratic view. I don't care. Um, I don't want to feel like I'm watching a protest from any side because I believe that TV shows should be, you know, not politicized. I believe TV shows should be about the art, about the story, and the creativity in the fiction within that. It shouldn't be about, it's about somebody's vision, right? Now, if someone's vision was that it was a gay character, that's not woke. That's the vision, right? And you shouldn't make that character straight because you're scared of backlash, whatever. No, if you have the vision as a creator that this person's gay, then hey, it is what it is, right? That's my opinion. But I don't but I definitely, for example, have you guys ever seen the TV show called 13 Reasons Why? That show is literally a protest. It is. It's a protest. It's factual. That show is a protest. It's completely fictional, right? But they definitely politicized that show hard. 100%. And it's like I never felt that with The Walking Dead. I never sat there and felt like I was watching a protest, which I don't want to do. I don't want to I don't want to feel that way. I understand they just had the lesbians, the medic in Alexandria, the two dudes raised. Who's the medic in Alexandria? The two dudes that raised the child up from the Saviors. It just ramped up. I still love The Walking Dead. I mean, yeah, if you think about it, how many characters have been introduced in The Walking Dead? And how many of them were LGBT, right? Think about it. We've had, how many LGBT characters have we actually had in The Walking Dead? We had, I might skip some because I don't really pay that much attention to that stuff, but I mean, well, just off the top of my head, we had Aaron and Eric, Magna and Yumiko, and who else? Jesus. Is there anybody else that I'm missing? That was like prominent. Tara. Tara was also a lesbian. I mean, we had the girl that Tara was a lesbian with, season 4. That's 7. That's 7 LGBT characters off the top of my head right now. If I'm forgetting some. Am I forgetting something? Can you guys remember any other gay or LGBT characters? So it's 7 right now. I'm at 7 characters. Right? So 7 characters, and I mean, how many characters were introduced in The Walking Dead? A lot, right? Like there's been a lot of characters. I can figure out right now how many characters were introduced. Hold on. All right. So there's been a lot of people introduced in The Walking Dead, like a lot. Like there's been like thousands of characters on that show, like just people introduced, right? Like there's been so many through the 177 episodes, like even just randoms, you know. There's been a ton of people introduced, a ton of characters, and I mean, you know, if you think about seven LGBT characters through that, you know, entire show, through, you know, 11 seasons, 12 years of TV, it's not really that bad, right? It's not shoved down your throat. And that's kind of the way I look at it. Look, I'm respectful to everybody. And if you're an LGBT supporter or LGBT person, I mean, I'm not going to be disrespectful to you for your lifestyle or your views or anything like that. You know what I mean? I don't agree with like bullying or being disrespectful to anybody ever. But at the same time, you know, me as a straight guy, you know, when I'm watching a show, I don't want to feel like I'm watching an LGBT parade. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to feel that. And the reason why is just because it's not who I am. It's not really what I believe in. It's not my ideology in life, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, that's my personal opinion, you know. Now, if you're asking me my personal views, that's a whole different aspect. I'm speaking from like a creator standpoint and from the standpoint of The Walking Dead being woke, right? Which I would not consider The Walking Dead a woke show. I do think that they definitely, I mean, they introduced Magna and Yumiko season 9. They had Jesus, you know, he died though, season 9. And you know, but it's not, it was never, I never felt like I was watching a protest, which I'm okay with, you know. Have some gay characters, that's cool, whatever, I don't care. I just don't want to feel like it's a protest. And that goes for both sides of the spectrum. That goes for both sides. I don't want to feel like I'm watching, you know, anything shoved down my throat from a political standpoint or anything like that. Let people be who they are, you know. And the thing about Magna and Yumiko, really, it's not like they were just making out all the time, you know. And it's the same thing with Jesus. You know, did Jesus ever even was he was on the show for what, season 6, 7, 8, 9? Did we ever even have a scene where Jesus like did anything gay? Like, did he ever even lock lips with another dude? I don't think so. It's because Tom Payne's straight as hell in real life, probably, and he was like, I'm not locking lips with another dude, bro, but I'll play the character, but I'm not locking lips. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, when you look at it from that standpoint, there was opportunity to have way more. Like, think about it, like even Eric and Aaron, right? I mean, how many times did we see Eric and Aaron lock lips? Maybe twice, you know, 3 times, maybe. Um, Magna and Yumiko, how many times? Maybe under three, probably, right? The whole series, they didn't lock lips very much. You don't think Jesus cuddled with the bros? It's a great comment. But yeah, no, I mean it's not been terrible. It's not been terrible, you know. I mean, I think The Walking Dead has done a great job of staying pretty neutral with it all. Um, I think, you know, I don't know. It's like it is what it is, right? It's kind of the world we live in, you know. For example, The Last of Us season 1 episode, is that episode 3? You guys remember? See, like this comment right here, when I was little, I was so fat and stupid that when I went to math class, I ate 9. It's a legendary comment. Last of Us season 1 episode 3 kind of felt like a protest. Felt a little bit overly grotesque for me personally. Maybe it was episode 3, I don't know. Yeah, no, I didn't either. I never put any thought into like the LGBT stuff on The Walking Dead because, you know, it's like, you know, yeah, you can agree with it, disagree with it, whatever, right? But as long as it's not like stretched out long, you know, pause, you know, in your face, pause. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't that bad. Like it was never like The Last of Us, right? Like think about it. The Last of Us has already felt like way more of a protest than The Walking Dead ever did, by far. By far, man. The Last of Us has felt like a protest multiple times. And it's only been 2 seasons, and there's like no episodes. Like, how many episodes of The Last of Us has there been? Like 20? You know? And they go even, deeper into some of the, like feminism ideology and stuff with like, the whole like women empowerment stuff. Like, you know, I don't know. Some of it's far-fetched stuff, right? And it's just the reality. When you live in the realm of reality, you know that men are stronger physically than women, and that's okay, right? That doesn't mean that there's not a woman out there that could, beat up a guy. Obviously there is, dude. There's like I'm sure there's some UFC women or some like trained fighting Navy SEAL women, right? That could kick some dudes' asses out there in the world, right? For sure. But like when anomalies don't make the rules, right? Or what does it say? Exceptions don't make the rules. Um, yeah, like there's obviously you know a big difference between men and women on a physical level. So like when you're having a physical fight between Ellie's like 5'1", 125 pounds, and she's over here like killing these like 6'3", 6'4", 240 pound guys. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It kind of seems it's like BS. You remember? I love The Walking Dead because they're not like that. Like you remember how Beta did Laura in season 10? You guys remember that? Like when Laura was holding the spear to Beta's neck and he just grabbed her and freaking just like spun her in a circle and cracked her on the wall and killed her just like that instantly. Like that was realistic because that's how that would work. Laura's a small girl and she's tough for a girl, right? Like like Laura's a tough woman, but like for example, compare Laura to Daryl, right? Like Daryl Dixon is a way tougher character than Laura. And Daryl actually like fought Beta toe to toe and, had some moments, right? Obviously, he still lost the overall physical fight because, Beta was just throwing him around. But like Beta or Daryl would put up a way tougher fight against Beta than Laura. And that's why Beta killed Laura in 5 seconds. That's realistic. Or like Rosita. You remember Rosita in the house fighting Beta in season 10? When I think it was the same episode when Rosita was trying to fight Beta and she swung the thing and he just grabbed it and like threw her or whatever, just like fast as hell. You know what I mean? He just dismantled her like that because Rosita's a tiny female. She is. She's like 110 pounds. She's not thick at all. I mean, I could pick Rosita up and throw her across the room. So imagine what Beta would do to her, right? This guy's like 6'9", 270, This guy's a unit. So it's like those are the things like see, that would be woke to me. I would label that woke if Rosita was kicking Beta's ass or Laura was beating Beta's ass or whatever it was, right? Now if you have like for example Michonne, it makes sense that Michonne would be like a tough girl, right? Michonne's a tough girl because she looks physically imposing. She's like jacked, right? Michonne has a good physique. You can tell she has muscle and she has the sword and she's very skilled with the sword. So it's logical for her to beat people in a fight that are men because she has the sword and she like obviously there's logic behind it still. Remember when Michonne was getting in a fist fight with the trash lady in season 7, episode 16 finale, and Michonne was just getting her ass beat and her whole face was swelled up? It's like, and that was with like some random trash lady, right? Like that random trash lady, Rick would, kick her ass in like 2 seconds. Daryl would beat her ass in 2 seconds, right? Those are like the moments where it's like it's logical and not woke, right? Because Michonne's having a hard fight with the girl, right? A hard fist fight with that girl that every guy in the show would beat up in 2 seconds, and that's logic, right? Thanks for being so engaging. I'll be back. Gotta go though. P.S. Michonne is a good character. She is. Michonne's a great character. She's a great character. I appreciate you for being engaging. And thanks for being here, bro. But those moments, like The Walking Dead, is I would not label it woke because there's always logic behind the fights, logic behind the moments. You know what I mean? There's a lot of logic behind it, and that's awesome. You know, I like that. I like that common sense stuff. So, man, we've been live for 85 minutes, guys. 85 minutes. It's been a great stream. Um, Wonderful. I'm probably gonna shut her down before too long, guys. It's been fun hanging out with you guys. Make sure if you're new or if you don't have the notifications turned on, I try to go live like every other day, um, in the morning, right around the same time. So if you do not have notifications turned on, turn them on. Get them on, man. Because we hop in here, join, drop likes, share, everything like that, man. Because we go live and it really helps the channel grow when we go live like this, and we gain a decent amount of new subs every time we go live. Typically every live stream I gain 10, 10, 15 new subs. So I mean, we run into some really cool people sometimes, and that's really awesome. You know? Oh my gosh. I'm so hungry. Gotta go eat some food. But yeah, guys, to summarize, it's been a good stream. Um, a lot of interesting topics, and guys, like it's a free world, or maybe not a free world, but the internet. You can say what you want unless you're in the UK, but um, at least for me, I live in America, man. So I'm just sharing my opinions and sharing my views. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that everybody has to agree with everything that I say, but I try to keep things like neutral and transparent and honest as I can be, without just like hurting people's feelings and stuff. I don't ever want to do that. I'm just keeping it real with my beliefs and my opinions. And, I believe that creativity should be number one in every aspect of fiction and writing and TV shows and storytelling, that your ideas, your creativity, your art, your vision, that needs to be prioritized over any politicizing ever, right? And I've seen that up close. I know a lot of people in the entertainment industry, man. I promise you guys, it's real. It's very real. They change your vision and make it something you don't want it to be, man. It happens all the time, and it's unfair. It's unfair to the creators. It's unfair to the minds out there that are brilliant, that are having their visions and their artwork and their ideas stripped away and altered and changed because of politicizing, because of woke. You know, it's what happens. I don't care what anybody says. It's a fact. I know it's a fact. I have people that I've talked to on a personal level that have literally designed video games, AAA title video games, direct message conversations with people that confirmed this to me, that the woke agenda is real, and they strip away your ideologies, they strip away your ideas, your beliefs, your visions, your art, everything. They strip it all, and they make you make this character this, and make this character this, right? It's a true thing, man. So The Walking Dead's done relatively good of keeping their vision pure and what it is. That doesn't mean you can't have LGBT, but what I'm saying is if you go write a character in and they say, "Oh, nope, this can't happen. This we need an LGBT character. We need this character. We need that." That's wrong. You're altering people's artwork, and that creates dullness. It creates lack of interest. It creates dull moments. I think it ruins everything. It ruins it all, man. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with all this stuff, guys. The Walking Dead is in a pretty interesting spot right now. It's been a fun stream. Been live for almost 90 minutes now, so I'm gonna close her down and go get some food. And I hope you guys have a good day. I am really excited for life, really excited for The Walking Dead. I'm really excited to do all this stuff. I might do a video later today. If not today, it'll be tomorrow. So yeah, guys, I love you guys, man. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. Don't forget, memberships are live. If you guys want to join and support me, it's like $4 a month. You get exclusive wallpapers, exclusive live streams, exclusive videos, access to me like you never seen. So if that would interest you guys, if you want to support me, join the memberships on the channel. They're live right now. And yeah, I appreciate it. It's like $4 a month. So if you guys are interested in that, it helps me a lot. Thank you guys. I love you guys. Stay safe out there in the crazy world, man. I'll see you guys in the next one. Yo, Stephanie, I'm actually ending the stream. But subscribe and turn those notifications on. I'll catch you in the next one. Um, and I'm gonna make this guy mod. Molino, you have to be moderator now, bro. You've been in here. Um, um, gotta make you a moderator because if there's any idiots in the chat, you got to get them out. You know what I mean? Any stupid, just like what you saw today, get them out. You know what I mean? We don't have time for that. So, but yeah, no. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you have the notifications on. Subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. New video later today, or tomorrow. But yeah, try to go live at least every other day. Sometimes I go live like 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row. So just make sure you guys stay ready for that. So anyways, Rick Grimes is coming back. We're lit, guys. We're lit. I'm gonna go get some food, go get some pizza. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Stay safe out there in the crazy world, man. Peace.